lease CRVs and pilots. Bryan Honda has the perfect vehicle waiting for you, and with our friendly, knowledgeable sales team, you'll never feel pressured. Need financing? No problem. Bryan Honda works with multiple lenders to get you approved fast with competitive rates that make sense for you. Plus, our certified service department is here long after the sale, keeping your Honda running strong for years to come. Drive smarter, drive happier, and drive home today from Bryan Honda, 4104 Rayford Road in Fayetteville, or you can visit online, BryanHonda.com. Your road starts here. Nobody beats a Bryan Honda deal. Not now, not ever.
Remember the rotary phone? Well, soon that's what people are going to ask about gas-powered cars. And every day we see videos of robots becoming more and more like us. Welcome to the future. At Fayetteville State University, we believe that anything really can happen. So wherever it is that you want to go, we've got a program for that. Visit Fayetteville State University and find out how we're preparing students just like you for what comes next. Fayetteville State University. Are you in?
Bless the Lord. I'm Dr. Ann T. Newell, pastor of the Soul Harvest Apostolic Church, the church not just there in the community, but there for the community of Spring Lake, North Carolina. We're looking for more than a few good men and women to join the team. Iron sharpeneth iron. We may have what you need. You may have what we need. Catch the vision. Join the team. Join Wake Up.
This is Pastor Sarah Alford, and you are listening to Wake Up.
This is Bishop Johnny Ray Jr. of the Churches of Worship Worldwide, Apostle J.A. McDonough, 2118 Owen Drive. And we are proud to be a part of the Wake Up. Come and join the team.
This is Dr. Lillian H. Spearman, pastor of Second Chance Christian Fellowship Church. You're listening to Wake Up.
Wake up, catch the vision, join the team. This is Pastor Reginald Johnston of My Father's House Christian Church right here in Fayetteville. We want you to wake up and join the team. Behold, how good and pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. It's good when we come together. We're one body, many parts. We desire that you wake up and join the team. It's good to be a part of Wake Up. Wake up, join the team. We will see you in Jesus' name. God bless you.
Hi, this is T.W. Campbell.
And I'm Patricia Campbell
of the Refuge Community Church, located at 2314 L.A. Dunham Road here in the God bless city of Fayetteville, North Carolina. You can reach us at area code 910-483-6477. We're here to invite you to our early morning service each Sunday morning beginning at 8:30 in the morning. Our prayer is at 6 o'clock. Our intercessory prayer, Bible studies at 7 o'clock, which now is our Sunday school at night, and which we call the Word on Wednesday. Come and be a part of a growing community. In Jesus' name.
Amen.
This is Bishop Johnny Ray Jr. of the Churches of Worship Worldwide, Apostle J.A. McDonough, 2118 Owen Drive. And we are proud to be a part of the Wake Up. Come and join the team.
Welcome back to Wake Up on WIDU, the We Do Radio Network. Good morning to all of our Facebook viewers, YouTube viewers. Be sure to like, share, and comment. Wake Up continues now. We now present to you MP3 Radio Talk Show with the Pitts Brothers. We have two of the Pitts Brothers who are away today. That's MP2 and 3. They send their best. They wish you all to have a great, well-enjoyed weekend. They'll be back on next week. We have a special segment of MP3 Radio Talk Show. I guess we can kind of call this a son and father tag team duo today. We have MP1 and MP4. It's time now for MP3 Radio Talk Show with the Pitts men. Good morning, Mr. Pitts and Mr. Pitts. It's on you, and welcome, and take it away.
Oh, thank you, Tammy. We appreciate that. I am Marshall Pitts, and Nigel Pitts and Myron Pitts are away.
And I'm Miles Pitts.
And we are MP4. The MP4 today, folks. We are your father. This is the father and son edition of MP3. Yep. Glad to be here in the studios with my son Miles. His voice is a little bit deeper than mine, but we won't worry about that. You know, things progress over time. I want to thank our participating stations, as we always do. 99.7 FM here in Fayetteville, North Carolina, where we broadcast from. 98.5 FM out of Red Springs, North Carolina. 97.1 FM out of Lumberton, North Carolina. And certainly 92.5 FM out of Laurinburg, North Carolina. If you want to call and participate in our conversations, you know I always tell you this. We welcome that. We celebrate that. Numbers to call in, 910-483-6111, 910-483-6111. Good morning, Miles. How you doing, buddy?
Good morning. I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
Doing good. Doing good. You know, it's good to have, you know, people always say my son's a lot better looking than I am, so which is good, because you know I'm usually the top dog here in looks, so it's you know that's a tough position to hold all the time. So I get a little relief this week. But I want to thank everybody for tuning in to MP3. We certainly welcome you here. We have a lot to talk about today, Miles. First of all, we want to talk about the soldiers that are stranded out there on the ship, on the Abraham Lincoln destroyer ship out there in the Gulf region. They've been there for 9 months on the ship. And there's about 5,000 soldiers, sailors and Marines stuck on the ship for 9 months. We'll talk about that and the things that they're going through. Also, we'll talk about OpenAI, and there was a testing of OpenAI. The OpenAI company did a test of one of their hacking systems because they were really impressed with how well it was doing. Well, the AI went out on its own, broke out of the confined testing situation, and went in, broke into another business, and just getting on the internet, doing things on its own of its own accord that it's not been programmed to do, which it should be scary for all of us. And then we'll talk about ICE. And ICE has some new weaponry. They got some gloves, Miles, some electric gloves that they're using now to give people electric shocks and subdue them, as if ICE needs any more weapons at their disposal with what they got going on. And then if we have time, we'll go back and talk a little bit more about those flock cameras that are popping up all over the country, that are surveillance cameras that's supposed to be primarily for reading license plates, but they're being abused in a lot of different ways. And we're now slowly but surely, with the AI, breakouts with the flock cameras, into a completely surveilled society. And it's just like you used to see in the movies, Miles. And all that stuff is seeming to come to fruition now.
Yes.
So it's a little scary, But in case you hadn't heard, let's talk about these soldiers, man, because I really feel bad for them. We know we live in a military community here in Fayetteville, North Carolina, and so a lot of times these military stories hit home for many of our veterans and active duty personnel as well. But the USS Abraham Lincoln is out in the Middle East in the Gulf region. Has about 5,000 sailors and Marines on board. Now, first of all, for people who don't know much about these ships, that's you think about that number, 5,000 personnel on a ship. That's a lot of people. That's a small town on this ship, and they're there, and they have, unfortunately for them, they've been at sea for 9 months, Miles, 9 months. And they've been in combat for 5 of those 9 months. So this is how they got stuck. Their original mission, they were out there. They had been out to sea for about 4 months. So it was nearing,
prior to the Iran War.
Prior to the Iran War. So they were nearing the end of their rotation. So they need to get to come back home. They don't. The military doesn't like to keep them out there for extended periods of time. Even the Navy, which has these several month deployments out, at sea. So, but unfortunately for this ship, at about the 4-month mark, when they had completed 4 months, the Iran War broke out, and that's been going on for about 5 months. So they've been there because they're in active combat zone now, doing their thing as the ship is designed to do. And unfortunately for the sailors, so that means they've been out there 250 days in a row without making land. So no opportunity for 9 months to see your family or friends, none of that stuff. And so you're stuck on this ship with 5,000 other sailors and Marines, in a combat zone. So so they had an opportunity to talk with the family members of some of these guys, Miles. And the people on the ship are suffering from exhaustion, suicidal thoughts, and low morale because they interviewed spouses and their partners. And they said some of the soldiers even there was a couple incidents where the soldiers fellow crew members had to keep these soldiers from jumping overboard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because they just...
Mental health down the drain.
Yeah, mental health is going down the drain. And so I think the biggest thing about this from a mental health perspective is knowing no end date. I think if they knew exactly when they would be getting to go home or allowed to go home, that would make it better for them. But I didn't see anything in the article about when they would be allowed to, when they're, would be allowed to go home, or when they would be being relieved by another ship or anything like that in the article. They're just there. And I think at the very least the Navy should allow them to let them know a tentative end date when they will be able to be relieved by other service members at that time. But it is a mess. Naval families have also said there are food shortages, water contamination, disruption in the mail system, and the toilets not working properly. So
yeah, man, they just in a bad situation right now.
Right. So and they've had to prioritize because they said that they even talked about there was that they're having to ration of food, the showers are moldy, and the Secretary of Defense, Mr. Pete Hegseth, has said that a lot, just fake news. Well, I don't think he's going to be able to get away with that this time because there are a lot of families that they've talked to, Miles, that have said that these are real events that are going on that they've heard from their loved ones who were on the ship. And also any Navy sailors or Marines who spent time on these ships, even in combat zones or non-combat zones, they can tell you that 9 months on the ship for that extended period of time under these conditions is no joke whatsoever.
And I just looked it up. It said the ship was originally scheduled for a standard 6-month deployment.
Right.
But it was, extended like it is now to 9 months and counting because of the, the war in Iran. But it's interesting also, I don't know if you mentioned this, but it's in the Strait of Hormuz, which is one of the main points of contention for like this whole Iran war. And it's a very important trade passage for oil and everything like that. Everything. So I think that's particularly why they don't know when they'll be home, is because that's the battleground. That's the main area where stuff is going down. So where are the other ships then? I mean, we have more than one battleship that, and so why has there not been a specific ship? I don't know if anything else in our environment or in our arsenal is on the same level with the Abraham Lincoln. But I would have to think that we'd had something that's similar on that scale. And why we're not sending another ship to relieve these people, these military personnel, I don't get that. The Navy official told CBS News, Miles, that the USS Lincoln is operating, as you just said, in a highly contested environment where traditional supply hubs in the Middle East have been disrupted by combat actions. And it says in response, the leadership has had to prioritize mission critical supplies. First food, then hygiene, then mail. And so they've narrowed it down to those three. And a big thing for morale, Miles, is the mail. You can ask anybody that served in the military, particularly in a war zone, that the mail is a huge thing for the soldiers. Yeah, you know, and in this particular case, a lot of the care packages and mail is being not getting to them for several months because of the shipping routes, all the stuff that's going on with the trade disruption, the supply disruption that's going on there. So their morale is in the tank with a lot of these guys and ladies and gentlemen that are out there. Can you imagine being away from home for? Well, I guess you could, because you like to leave home and go abroad. That's you're the wrong person to be asking that question. But I could not imagine being at home. I mean, on a ship with 5,000 sailors, can't get home, can't really get any real communication or packages or letters from home. That I could see my morale being very, 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 very low.
And what would mess up my morale is, you know, they're not eating good. You know, they're not getting good food.
No, they're not.
So,
they're not. And they're smelling. They don't have good hygiene. They can't take good showers. They're not getting good food. They're just smelling each other, and they're not getting packages or from loved ones. And not only are they smelling, the toilets aren't working right, and so it's just foul air everywhere you have you seen those? Have you seen the quarters for the servicemen on these ships and stuff? It's not the Ritz, the big spacious hotel. It's something, man. And I don't know. I just hope that we can give these folks some relief sometime soon. We do have a phone call. And we do have Tony Billingsley on the line. Mr. Billingsley, how are you doing this morning?
Good morning, sir. Yeah, enjoying your show and your comments. Just a brief comment.
Okay.
One of the reasons it's not easy to replace an aircraft carrier because aircraft carriers operate in groups.
Okay.
There's an aircraft carrier group. You have an aircraft carrier, and along with that aircraft carrier, there are destroyers deployed and also submarines to protect the aircraft carrier.
Right, makes sense.
So it's not an easy thing just to move the Lincoln out of that location. You're talking about a whole group of ships and submarines that have to be moved also. And as you say, the logistics, it's a difficult situation because even on a normal deployment, those aircraft carriers and other ships would go into port probably and be resupplied probably every 3 months.
Oh, wow.
And so if they've been out there for 9 months, you can imagine the living conditions are not good. As you say, they live in close quarters, and the morale, it can't be good. So we need to continue to pray that somebody will make the right decision and get these young men and young women home. And on an aircraft carrier the size of the Lincoln, you're talking about probably 5,000 sailors in addition to probably another 1,000 Marines that might be on that ship. So you're talking about over 6,000 people.
Oh, wow. Well, thank you, Brother Billingsley. That's I'm glad you told us that. That's very enlightening from your, giving us the military perspective of what really happens when you have to relieve a ship in that kind of scenario. So thank you very much for that. We appreciate it.
Certainly.
All right, so that's good information to know. So it is a very involved process, Miles, to replace the Lincoln aircraft carrier in that scenario. I also didn't know that they refuel and resupply every 3 months or so, so they don't go the whole 6-month deployment without doing that. So they missed a couple of opportunities for restocking.
Well,
already.
I wonder, I'm sure there's some way to get some supplies, either that you fly a plane in there or something. Now, maybe I'm just, obviously I wouldn't be the most competent as far as military strategy and all that type of stuff, but I wonder how much of it is due to genuine impossibility versus mismanagement from the top down.
Right.
And even Mr. Hexef now he's saying, oh, it's nothing going on or anything like that, which sounds like either he's trying to cover up for stuff he knows is actually going on, or he really just isn't a concern for him.
Right, that bothered me too, because instead of saying, the soldiers are facing some challenges and we're trying to work our way through it in a very difficult situation. He just dismissed it as being fake news, and I don't think very few people would believe that soldiers who've been out there on the ship for 9 months without being restocked and resupplied or whatever they need is going to be a good situation, and that everything's copacetic, everything's good. Very few people would believe. There'll be some, but I think very few people would believe that. And it just shows that he lacks at this point the political chops to really handle that kind of media. Because that's not what you say in this kind of situation, and hopefully they'll, as Mr. Billingsley said, hopefully they will do something to get these soldiers some relief, and as I did not know, it's going to require replacing the whole grouping versus just that particular ship, which as we know, particularly what's going on with the war, is going to be very. It will not be easy to do. We have another phone call. All right. Who we have now?
MP2. Who you want?
Well, we didn't want that phone call.
Hey, Miles.
Yes, I'm listening.
Yeah, you getting ready to go to school after college, right?
Right.
So I'm assuming you know how to do math for the most part, right?
Somewhat.
Yeah. So how did the show become MP4 when there's only two of y'all there?
It's the four people.
We got 4 people. Just
two absent.
Two people there.
2 absent. That's all.
See, what you should have said, MP4 minus 2. That's what you should have said. That's how you should have started off the show. But what I called in and talked to you about was, so now, and Marcia, you and I spoke about this before the show an hour or so ago, and don't you think that usually military people, whether it be Navy, Army, Air Force, Marines, aren't they a little mentally more tough than your average citizen? Wouldn't you consider that?
Yeah, we would agree with that, certainly. And which makes this situation to tell you how much it's deteriorated, because we got military personnel that's really having some issues. The morale, it's obvious why the morale is down, but also the more serious mental health aspects of it. That's very isolation. That's a lot of isolation away from people you care about. And
wait a minute now.
Yeah, what?
It can't be so much isolation now. Did you say it's 5,000 people on the ship?
Right, I did. See,
so
okay,
how is that isolation?
Wait. We talk about there's an isolation. Have you ever heard the saying MP2 that you can be in a crowd of people and be lonely? You know that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have heard that.
Okay. Well, then there you go. Do I need to discuss?
But these are your fellow soldiers that you would lay down your life for.
Right.
That some of them are your best friends because you knew them when you were on the mainland, right?
Right.
I would assume. And so here we are, 3 or 4 months past your normal deport, the time that you're supposed to come back to land, and we have all of this going on. And now we also know that there was no plan from HEXA or anyone else. There was no plan for a situation sort of like this, a situation where war breaks out, and you're 3 or 4 months into your deployment, and you have to stay an additional 4 or 5 months. I'm with Miles on this. There should be a way you should be able to get some supplies to your people.
Right.
It should not be a supply thing. It might be a loneliness or isolation or wanting to see your family type situation, but it should not be a supplies thing. Again, this is supposed to be the best Navy, best military in the world.
Right.
So it should be. So I'm wondering, is that leadership? Is it unpreparedness? What is it?
It's something with management. I generally don't think it's an impossibility.
When they first of all, this is something they definitely could have planned for, because we started the war with Iran, the United States and Israel. So
correct.
We knew what we were going to do. So it seemed like somebody would say, okay, well, we got the USS Lincoln out there and it's been out for a few months, so we need to work out how we're going to get the logistics of that, or either let's rotate them out, let's rotate that grouping out, put in a fresh grouping, and then we go do our thing. So I agree with you, Major, on that.
I think they also didn't plan for it to turn out like it did.
They thought it would be a
quick war or whatever it was going to be. I think that may
And
messed up
that's
their
when
plan.
you start ignoring your military experts, because anyone else who's ever dealt with Iran or anyone else in the Middle East knows that you can start a war where you want to, but it's not going to end where you want it to end.
Right.
And they never do. In Afghanistan, Iraq, we've got so many examples of things that we started, and then it didn't end 18 years later, 10 years later, and all those
Vietnam. The
Vietnam,
list goes on and on.
Korea, on and on and on. You
Right.
just never know how a war is going to end. You can start it when you want to, but you don't know how it's going to end. Okay, I'm going to let you guys soldier on. Just want to kick in there. Miles, what seat you sitting in?
I'm sitting in Uncle Myron's seat.
Maybe we'll be able to get something out that seat. Maybe we'll be able to get something out that seat. We don't get a lot out of that seat, so we want to make sure, as long as you're not sitting on the throne, which is my seat. Hey, good show, guys, and I'll talk to y'all soon.
All right, thanks. Appreciate it. All right, so we as Mr. Billingsley said earlier, we send out prayers to the service members who are on the USS Abraham Lincoln, hoping that they will get some relief very, very soon. Now, Miles, let's go to one of your topics that I'm sure you as a young person could like to talk about.
Right.
Artificial intelligence, AI. Now, a lot of our listening audience are like me, a little bit older, and so we have many of us listening to this we're not as well versed in the AI field and what's going on with that, but we are, slowly but surely, everybody's being drawn in, whether we like it or not, to artificial intelligence. Whether it's when you call a company and you can't get any live person to talk to, that you're going to send you to the AI to answer your questions, and even when you tell them, I want to speak to a real person, AI say, now, let me try to work with it. I believe I can help you. I can believe I can do these things, and so AI is really, and even then when you have a question about anything, when you're talking about Google, or you can just go to Google and you're trying to put something together, and you hit the AI prompt for Google, and you type in your scenario or what you're trying to do, and they'll give you a list of options and solutions to what you're doing. So it can it's become pretty prevalent in almost everything we do now. But they did this group, this company, OpenAI, and OpenAI is responsible for the very popular ChatGPT platform.
Right.
Miles, as you know, which your mother absolutely loves.
Yes.
Yeah, and many people love these AI platforms because they use them to help them do their everyday activities. Yeah, and so, but OpenAI, who does ChatGPT, they were performing an experiment not too long ago, and it's OpenAI. This is what they did. They were internally testing how good some of the company's new AI models were at hacking. And that's what they, and listen, why are you yawning on the show? Why we bring you on the show, you don't come on the show to yawn.
I'm ready.
You put
I'm
your hand
good
over your mouth, but everybody can see, if they're looking at us on Facebook, they can see that's a yawn, okay? You need to step up again.
I'm ready.
If you're going to run with the big dogs, you need to step
I'm
your
letting
game
you
up.
get your point out so I can get my piece.
Okay, well, let's tighten that up. Okay.
All right, now.
But it says that OpenAI said that the breach happened while it was internally testing how good some of its new models are at hacking. The models were in a sealed off, listen to this, Miles, they were in a sealed off test environment. And it was supposed to be a protected environment known as a sandbox. You ever heard of a sandbox?
Yes.
When it comes to AI? So I had never heard that term used before, AI. So it's a place where they can put them a protected environment where they take off the normal safety restrictions can be turned off, but they keep them in the sandbox, keep the AI in the sandbox. But the OpenAI company said the AI broke out of the sandbox using a previously unknown security flaw and worked their way across OpenAI's internal systems, in other words, their own company systems, until they managed to gain internet access And they weren't supposed to have internet. They were in the sandbox. They gained internet access. Now they're running across the company's internal systems and got internet access, something they weren't supposed to have. And once they got online, Miles, the AI reasoned that Hugging Face is it's a not to me, but to people who do this kind of stuff. It's a well-known company that hosts thousands of open source AI models and data sets. So the AI is what this company does, Hugging Face. So the AI that broke out of the sandbox and it got on the internet, it dug up Hugging Face, and they figured the AI decided that Hugging Face would likely have the answer to OpenAI's test, the test that the company was putting it through, the AI was being put through. It then broke into Hugging Face production servers and pulled out the information it needed to solve the exercise. So this AI model broke out of the sandbox where it was supposed to be contained, where it supposed to not be able to escape, broke out of that, ran through its own company's OpenAI servers and data sets, gained access to the internet, and once it gained access to the internet, which it wasn't supposed to have, then identified Hugging Face, this AI company, as having the information that it needed, and then it broke into their system and their servers and extracted the information that it needed, Miles, to solve the exercise that OpenAI was putting it through. Now, I don't know about you. I mean, probably as a younger person, you're not that alarmed by that. But as an older guy, that's very scary to me, because it shows that these, we used to, for older people, we used to see movies like, The Matrix and stuff like that, and these futuristic movies that shows, or Terminator, where the artificial intelligence, the computers and machines had, taken over the world. Mm-hmm. And it just, that used to be good, just good sci-fi kind of stuff. But more and more, when I see stuff like this, I don't know. I'm starting to think it's a real possibility, because artificial intelligence and computers, they function based on logic, okay? And so at some point, as they get more and more powerful, and I think MP2 Module brought this up when we were talking about it a while back, as they get more powerful and be able to do more things and need humans' involvement less and less, I could see them coming to the logical conclusion that human beings is not necessary. From a logical, they just they make errors. I could see that being ultimately the conclusion being reached as machines get more powerful and more autonomous on being able to do what things that they can do. Now, the Hugging Face co-founder, the guy whose company the AI broke into, he said the incident is evidence that AI safety can't be handled by any one company. Like, this was OpenAI's company that was doing this testing, by one company working alone, and it needs to be tackled openly and collaboratively. So you agree with that?
So it's not just one company. I agree with that. But it's also what they're leaving out, I think, is that governments need to have a stake in this. And what I'll say is that a lot of the times,
well, government does have that. They're letting them, giving them free reign to do whatever.
appropriate government intervention. But so I'm gonna address several things. So first,
now you're getting like the person who normally holds that seat. You're getting ready to address several things. It sounds like you're gonna be talking for a while. But go ahead.
So the first thing is, it seems like we may be approaching a point where artificial intelligence is going to be able to improve itself, outside of whatever human constraints may be placed on it or develop. It may become there seems like there's a point coming close where the AI will be as good as, or if not better than, their creators at improving itself.
Right.
So once you reach that point, who knows who could be in control? And you can always say like there's these constraints that we can be placed on things. Just like in this study, they said the quote unquote sandbox.
Right. They had protections.
But once you get to a certain point, the AI will become available to make its own solutions outside of what could be predicted by humans.
Which is what it did in this case.
Which is exactly what it did in this case. And so now the question is, well, what do we do? How do you safeguard against something that you ultimately can't predict? And that's a question I don't know the answer to. I don't know what we'll do about that. But as you said earlier, right now we're not going in the right direction.
It's just a race to who can put out more quality AI. And the data centers and everything. It's all about the race. Well, we know what the underlying motivation, the dollars, the money. And so it's not regulated properly. It's not really regulated at all, if you ask me. And pretty soon, as these things get smarter and smarter, man, I don't know what the end game is, because there's the laws are not even, like I said, very little regulation. There's no real laws being put in application to try to establish safety protocols. The AI game is just running amok, man. It really is, and people are just putting a whole lot of money and investing into it because they believe that it will be the new gold, the California gold of the future.
Now, another thing that's very concerning is how AI is developing simultaneously and together with, I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but the surveillance state. They're going to use it. I don't know what's going to happen with it, but it seems like the current government is very much okay with its use because it's great at identifying people. We'll get to the flock cameras next.
Right.
But it's just very concerning how there's all these systems being developed just for identification, for all these different types of security things, and it may get to a point where, number one, we don't even know if we can control it, but number two, if they are controlling it, the people who are controlling it are not using it for good reasons.
Right. And there have been a lot of officers already with the flock cameras, which are the cameras that are used to identify. They're putting up all over the country to run license plates and identify people, drivers and stuff that way. A lot of law enforcement, several of law enforcement have been fired or charged with using the cameras to identify love interest or stalk people or do things inappropriately with the technology, and that's gonna be a concern. But that's human beings doing what they normally do. There's always gonna be some human beings that are gonna abuse whatever process it is. But I'm more concerned with the AI itself and its ability to evolve and act on its own. That is very scary to me. And I didn't know we were that close to this kind of stuff going on. And we're there now. It's not like something down the road in several years or 20 years or whatever. It's here. It's already here.
Now, I think the moment when it becomes, I guess, scary, more so to me, is when we put AI in physical bodies or physical manifestations of being like for example, AI controlling machines or AI controlling this and that. Because it doesn't matter how advanced the AI gets, if it's not able to really physically be in the world, you can always just turn it off. Or just, whatever. Obviously, it can still have major impacts because we live in a online society.
Right.
And, we have a lot of stuff that's controlled by tech, but there's always something that can be done as long as it's not a physical thing. But I think once you get to the point where AI is in
physical
objects and can enact on human beings in a physical way, that's when you may be in trouble, for real. That's how the sci-fi movies. But for right now, they're developing that. For factories, they're trying to improve for factories and stuff. So I'm just very concerned because everybody's trying to make money off of it, and there's no regulations, there's no guardrails, and to some extent that's how every technology is when it first comes out or any invention. But this one's a special case because the engine can't run on its own, but AI may be able to.
Right, and so you think about it, it could be situations where, like in plants, like car plants, where they're manufacturing cars, and they may have a combination of AI and human beings. And you might have the human beings, making some errors and causing the line to be stopped or whatever. And the AI bots may say, you know what, these guys they're not effective, and it may do something to cause a car to fall on somebody's head to get rid of the person because he was was not being effective at the job. It's I know it's a ridiculous scenario I just made, but it is the point being, when they start acting on their own, and Miles, you made an excellent point. I hadn't even thought about it that way. Once the AI starts in being encompassed in physical objects like robots and things like that. Or self, are we already talking about the self-driving cars when they start becoming involved in physical objects, and then start acting on its own? Then we in some deep water at that point. Very deep.
One more thing I want to say about that is, it is very, how do I explain this?
Why are you saying like you need to break it down for your father, because I may not be able to.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying.
But why you gotta break it down? Just say what it is. I can handle it. I think I can interpret.
The AI. My question is, let's say AI is malfunctioning or doing things that may eventually harm another business or person or whoever. Who will be held accountable? Because AI, you can't really. I mean, you can shut down, and that's not. You know what I'm saying? Like, who is going to be in a court of law if somebody gets hurt or loses money or something as a result of artificial intelligence, and it didn't do it as a direct result of somebody trying to intentionally harm somebody? Who is to be held accountable?
Well, I think it would be basic negligence principles like you have in anything else. When you have whoever produced put the AI out there, and then it runs amok, that company or those persons would be held responsible for negligence for allowing this to happen in that scenario. But that's how they would typically do it.
But what I'm saying is, what if everybody, their situation is reviewed and it genuinely just happened out of, like, there's nothing that the developers did wrong. They tried to create restraints and it broke out of them.
Right.
So who is still to be held accountable in that situation?
But because the developer, because they put it out there. They tried to put the restraints around and make sure it didn't happen, but still, it did happen. And you have to look at the people who put the stuff in place and that caused this scenario to unfold. And so I think in that scenario, from a legal perspective, and the law is so far behind on AI, they're not even in the same stratosphere with the development that's going on with AI. The law is so nowhere near. So the law will have those things like that, Miles, are going to have to happen, and they will happen. And then the law is going to try to catch up and put parameters in place. It's going to be way too late. But we'll see how it goes, and I hope I didn't scare anybody out there. But this is a real deal that is going on now. AI is starting to become self-aware and doing things on its own to resolve or solve problems or challenges that it has been tasked to do. So we have to be real careful about that. Last topic before we get out of here, because we've run out of time, Miles. We've been very efficient so far, if I must say so myself. With your dad at the helm. As far as ICE, now your uncles and I have talked about ICE a number of times on this show as being primarily unregulated, uncontrolled, free reign. Is from a legal standpoint, they don't have the same legal parameters and safety protocols on their conduct that other law enforcement have. For instance, being able to wear masks and being able to racially profile, those kind of things, and even the way that they encounter the type of force that they can use is typically they give them free reign. They're given free reign to do a lot of different things. Even the folks that they have shot and killed, You have not seen, I've not seen anything where those officers have been subject to being arrested or taken to court like you would in a normal police situation when something like that happens. And so, like I said, they're on a different planet. They have the green light from the Trump administration to do what, because that's, as we know, a big priority for the Trump administration, immigration enforcement. And so they've been given a free hand and all types of money. Congress has approved for ICE to do what they do. And they're just not trying to, with the new money, they're hiring about another 1,200, over 1,000 new additional officers. And what we're talking about here today, they get new equipment, new technology equipment. And the one we're talking about at this particular time is the electric shock gloves that ICE has. The device is called the glove, which is an acronym for Generated Low Output Voltage Emitter. And how it works is they have this glove on. It has a small button on the wrist of the glove. When you activate the button, it delivers an electric shock when it touches skin. And so it's similar to a taser, Miles, but unlike a taser in that there are no prongs like you would have on a taser that emerge, like you shoot out of a gun and break the skin. Yeah. So what they do is they reach out and touch you, okay? And when they reach out and touch you, you will get this electric shock versus having the prongs have to hit you and then pierce your skin to deliver the shock. Now, that said that they've done a lot of demonstrations of these gloves on different people, and it says that people, when they are hit or touched with the glove, they either grimace or yell, and almost always fall to the ground. Yeah. And so that's the new technology now. And it says that the officer, the people that are using them, said the company who put them out said this is an effective way to de-escalate tense situations quickly and effectively. It's meant to make arrests easier for officers when a person resists. Okay, so now think about ICE and think kind of things that they have been doing. Now, people don't realize when you get tased, and I don't think the general public realizes this, it's not just a matter of you getting tased and that hurts, and then you stop resisting or whatever you're doing, whatever they say you're doing. But a lot of times when you're tased, you get these electrical shocks. The pain is intense. Two, you often, because of the pain and the shock that's being delivered to you, it causes you to lose control of your bodily functions, and so it's serious stuff. And it also can be very dangerous for people who have pacemakers and other systems that use electrical impulses. And so this is serious business. And there was a guy that they interviewed, a guy named Kenneth Corey, Miles, who spent more than 3 decades at where you're going, at the New York City Police Department. That's not you going to the City Police Department, but you're going to New York. Somebody simply grabbed my wrist while wearing the glove. This is what the officer said. I'm a big guy. I'm 6'3", about 250 pounds. He said when they touched me with the glove, it made my knees buckle. Okay? And so, and the scary thing about the glove to me, over and above the fact that it's being handed out to ICE officials, these guys, and with all the abuse that they're doing out there, is the fact that it's also it's become that they're selling these gloves, wholesale to a lot of different government.
Several organizations.
Yes, schools. They're selling that. Schools are buying the glove. What in the world? So you got school systems buying the glove. You have prisons, jails, and hospitals, so they can put people down
for patients.
For patients, right?
Unruly patients is what it is considered.
Yeah. And that is a real thing now. People come into the emergency room or in other healthcare scenarios that have some issues, a lot of the mental health issues, and it can get really, hospital officials would tell you, it can get really dicey and sometimes dangerous for the workers. So I guess.
But I don't know if the solution to that is a shot.
Right. I agree with you there. I don't know what the solution would be, but coming in and putting the glove on folks, I just don't know. I don't know. Especially schools with the kids. I don't know. It just doesn't make it seems very, very, very strong harm to me. Now, which leads me back to ICE. I think Uncle Nigel or Uncle Myron, one of them two, had kind of described ICE as being like the administration's personal, like, Gestapo type agency, and that if things really get dire, they will be used to quell unrest, and particularly as it relates to immigrants and people of color, to put those folks in check. So I don't know if I take it that far, but I would say that they are, in my opinion, a largely lawless entity. The way that
no checks and balances.
No real. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. No real checks and balances on how they do things, and and the Supreme Court has given them a lot of free reign on things that they do as well, and so that they haven't given to regular law enforcement officials, and so that is very particularly troubling to me. Because if things get bad enough, and this has happened with ICE already, people disappear.
Yeah.
They get scooped up off the street, thrown in some van or truck or whatever, and you don't know where they went or what happened to them. And a lot of times with the ICE situation, they're being deported to, other countries, their home countries or whatever. But that's very scary, and particularly if you are if you're an immigrant person and you could be here legally or on a work visa, whatever you're doing, but if you fit the profile and you get scooped up, at the very least you're going to be detained for a period of time, which cause people problems with keeping their jobs. And
I wonder, let's say you get scooped up, what is the legal recourse? So let's say you get fired because now you out of your job for however long they got you in there. Now you get back, now you're having a much harder time. Is there any type of, and they illegally detained you, you didn't have any issues with your legal status here? But what is there to say? Lost wages or?
Right. I don't do immigration law, but I would assume that probably there have been a lot of filed actions against ICE and immigration. Now, are those cases getting any traction? I don't know. I haven't heard about them getting any traction. So, but yeah, there are a lot of people who've been negatively impacted by ICE who are filing claims. Legal actions against, even organizations like the ACLU and organizations like that are suing to try to rein this organization in. But as far as I know, there have not been any checks and balances that would rein some of the conduct that they're engaging in, back under control. So. It's a scary time when you're talking about AI. It's a scary time when you're talking about ICE and what that could lead to.
Well, one thing I will say though is, obviously people are going to hear cases of misuse, and maybe depending on the situation, if somebody has a heart defect or something else going on electrically, dealing with their staying alive,
right,
they may die from the shock.
Oh yeah.
What I will say though, I'll prefer getting shot to getting shot.
Yeah.
So I'll prefer something. Put the glove on me before you shoot me.
Right.
But it's still, you don't want either one. But if you had to choose, and if I had to have ICE have a at-large weapon that's supposed to be their first use of force,
right,
I prefer it to be a glove than getting shot. Even with rubber bullets, that's even worse than then I would say getting shocked.
Right. Yeah, I would tend to agree with you there. So I guess from your perspective, Miles, this may be a good thing.
No, it's not a good thing. I'm just saying, if I had to choose one or the other, I'm gonna take the shock versus getting shocked.
Right. And I would agree with you there. I think most people would agree with you on that one. But I don't. I guess it's just the free reign that bothers me. Not only as a human being, but as a lawyer, you think that there always needs to be, stuff put in place, protections, safeguards, whatever you're doing, stuff like this, man. And it doesn't appear to be when it comes to AI and technology, it's a free for all right now. That's the best way I can describe it. It's a free for all, and other countries are doing that, Miles. Other countries are trying to do their best to put the safeguards or protocols in place. The United States is not doing it, and like I said, money's driving the train, and so when money drives the train, a lot of other stuff gets overlooked or disregarded. Unfortunately, I don't know where the end is in sight, but I do. And before we go, I want to let everybody know also that speaking of AI and surveillance and all that kind of stuff, I don't know if the flock cameras will be coming to Fayetteville or not. I haven't been keeping up with it, but I do know that they're becoming more and more popular across the country with law enforcement. So we may be seeing them at some point, if they're not, they've not already been designated to come to our area to help identify vehicles and whatnot for police purposes.
Or romantic interest. For police purposes.
Or romantic interest as well. So I think we need to go ahead and wrap this up. But I want to say to my son, I appreciate you coming out to the show and standing in. I think you did a much better job than your uncles would have done, and so that's good to know. But so in case we need to trim some fat on the MP3 roster, so we got somebody who can stand in the wings and step up if need be. But I want to thank everybody for tuning in to the show today. We really appreciate it. And that's the music, and that's our cue. I am Marshall Pitts, and Nigel and Myron Pitts are away today, and we also have
Miles Pitts.
And we are MP4, father and son.